Hello students. So in this video we'll be discussing PYQs, kinematics PYQ from your January 2023 attempt, right? So let us start. Okay. So first question is, in the first question, velocity time graph of a body moving in straight line is given to you. Velocity time graph is given as shown in figure. They are asking you ratio of displacement to distance traveled by body in 0 to 10 second. Fine. Ratio of displacement to distance traveled. So they are asking us this displacement by distance. Now beta, we should know that from velocity time graph we get displacement also, we get distance also. What is displacement? Displacement in case of your velocity time graph is area above minus area below, whereas distance traveled is the total area under the curve. So if you look at it carefully, this is my area above, this is your area below, this is the negative displacement, this is the positive displacement. This is positive displacement and this is your negative displacement, right? So displacement, net displacement, if you have to find out, let's find out the areas for this. This will be your 2 into 8, it will be 16. This one will be your 2 into 4, that is 8. This one, this again is rectangle, so you have area as 4 into 4, that is 16, and this one area is your 2 into 4, that is your 8. Fine. So displacement is what? Area above minus area below. Area above minus area below, so that is 16 plus 16, 32. 32 minus 16, 8 plus 8, right, divided by distance traveled. Distance traveled is total area, to area above time axis plus area below time axis, right? So over here it will be 32 plus 16. How much it will be? 16 by 48. It will be 1 time 3 times. So our answer is 1:3. Our answer is 1:3. Option number, it will be 4. Last option, option number 4, right? Okay, let us look at next question. The next question is, a car travels a distance of x with speed v1 and same distance x with speed v2 in the same direction. The average speed of the car is. Very basic question. Let us see. So x distance, first x distance it is traveling in with the speed of v1, next equal x distance it travels with the speed of v2, right? They are asking you the average speed. Fine, average speed they are asking. What is our speed average, beta? Speed average is total distance by total time. Now total distance traveled over here is x plus x, 2x. Total time will be time traveled in the time taken in the first part and time taken in the second part. So we can write down T1 value. T1 value will be what, beta? T1 will be your distance by speed, that is x by v1, and similarly T2 value can be written as x by v2. So total distance 2x by total time. Total time is T1 plus T2. T1 plus T2. Let me write it. 2x by x by v1 plus x by v2. When we'll simplify it, solve it, we'll get it 2v1 v2 by v1 plus v2. This is our answer, right? Option number, this will be 4th option, last option, 2v1 v2 by v1 plus v2. Fine. Yeah. So our next question says, distance traveled by a particle is related to time as x equals to 4t square. X is equals to 4t square. Distance as a function of time t is given. Okay, the velocity of particle at t equals to 5 seconds. Velocity of particle at t equals to 5 seconds. This is what they are asking. First of all, let us calculate velocity as a function of time t. What is velocity, beta? Velocity can be written as dx by dt. Velocity can be written as dx by dt. So let us differentiate our x. What we'll get? 8t. Let's substitute this. 8 into time is at 5 seconds. So 8/5 will get 40 meter per second. 40 meter per second. Option number 1. Option number 1. Fine. So our question is, the next question that we have is, a tennis ball is dropped on the floor from a height of 9.8 meter. It rebounds to a height of 5 meter. Okay, let's say tennis ball is dropped from a height of 9.8 meter. It will hit the ground and then it again rebounds to a height of 5 meter. Fine. During this impact, when it is hitting the ground, it is in contact for 0.2 second. It is in contact for 0.2 second. The time of contact is 0.2 second. They are asking us average acceleration. Now, beta, what is average acceleration? Let us see. Acceleration average is delta v by delta t. Okay? Average acceleration is delta v by delta t. So time we know. For how much time it is in contact? For 0.2 second. But what is our delta V? Change in velocity, velocity V final, that means after the impact what is the velocity, and just before the impact what is the velocity. So after the impact, that means when it collides and then when it is returning, this is V final, and before the impact this is your V initial, right? This is your, so let us write down, we can write it V final minus V initial by delta T. Let's substitute the values. V final value, V final will be how much? That means V final is while returning back. So after the impact, the velocity final. So V final will be root over 2gh, root over 2gh. This I can write as root over 2 into g into h. How much is returning distance? Returning distance is your 5. So we get over here root 100. That is 10 meter per second. Fine. V initial before the impact. V initial will be, again a particle is dropped from a height h before hitting the ground. What will be the velocity gained? V will be equals to root 2 gh. We calculate it with your third equation of motion. V square equals to u square plus 2as. So we get over here root over 2 gh just before hitting the ground. So this comes out root over 2 into g into h, that is 9.8. When we solve it, we get it over here root 196, that is your 14 meter per second. So before the impact speed is 14, after the impact it is speed is 10. But the point over here to be noted is that initial velocity will be negative. Why? Because it is hitting, it is coming downward, so it is in downward direction. V initial is minus 14, velocity direction is downward. So V final is 10 minus of minus 14 divided by time. How much is our time? 0.2. So when we solve it, average acceleration is 14 plus 10, 24 by 0.2. So we get over here 120 meter per second square. So our answer is 120. Okay? Average acceleration is 120 meter per second square. Fine. Okay, let's look at next question. Yeah. So our next question is about graphs, pure graph it is. And in the column 1, they have given us xt graph. In column 2, they have given us velocity time graph. So we have to compare it, we have to match the thing. Now in the first A part, they have given xt graph like this beta. Xt graph. How do we know from xt graph what information we get about velocity? Basically the slope of xt graph. The slope of xt graph gives us velocity. Now if you notice in the first part, your slope is positive and increasing. Slope is positive and increasing. Now if you look at velocity time, all the options, there is only option number 2 in which your velocity is positive and it is increasing. So for the first one, I'll write it over here. For the first one, our option is A. For A, our option will be Roman second, right? Next it is given to us like this. Xt graph is given to us. It's a curve and decreasing curve. Now over here again, slope of xt graph gives us velocity. If you notice, if you look at this carefully, the slope is negative. And so if you notice carefully, slope negative, that means velocity negative, continuously velocity negative, and slope is increasing in the case, negative, but it is increasing. Now if you look at all the 4 options of velocity time, only the 4th option that you have, in that velocity is negative and increasing. It is velocity is negative for the full duration, velocity is negative and it is increasing. So for this one, we will get B, it will be Roman 4. Fine. Third, let's see what is our xt graph given to us. C option is, okay, initially it's a straight line with a constant slope, positive and constant slope. In the next half, it is again straight line, constant and negative slope. That means what can we write it? In this half, velocity is positive and constant. In this half, so here velocity positive and constant, and over here velocity negative and constant. Okay, negative and constant, it's visible? Yes, it's visible. Negative and constant. So very easily, if you check velocity time, it is your third option only. For C, we will get third option where initially velocity is constant and positive, and in the next half it is velocity is constant and negative. Fine. Fourth option, it is left for you. Xt graph is given to you, it is like this. Xt graph, the fourth part, if we see, it is given like this. Slope is constant, that means velocity constant and it is positive. Which option it is? Only first option is left, where velocity is constant and it is positive. So for D, we will get first. Okay, these are the match the column. Now you can check the option that we have. You can check the option and you can write your answer. You can choose the right option, right? This is what we have got it. Fine. Let us look at the next question. Yeah. So our next question is, a horse rider covers, see, a horse rider covers half the distance with 5 meter per second, half the distance with 5 meter per second. Okay. The remaining part of the distance, so half the distance, so let's call this as D and remaining part, other half as D. Okay, the remaining part of the distance was traveled with a speed of 10 meter per second for half the time and 15 meter per second for other half of the time. So let's say that this distance is covered in total T time. So this is for T by 2 time, it is going with a speed of 10 meter per second, and next T by 2 time, it is going with a speed of 15 meter per second. Fine. Next, he says the mean speed of the rider averaged over the whole time of the motion is x by 7 meter per second. The value of x is fine. Mean speed. That means your speed average. Speed average is given to us as x by 7. Now, beta, what is your average speed? Average speed is basically total distance by total time. It is total distance by total time. Total distance over here, d plus d, 2d. Total time. If we have to write down total time, first half, how much time it is taking in first half, and the time taking for the second half, to travel second half, T1 plus T2. Let us calculate T1 and T2 one by one. After that, we will simplify it. So over here, this T1, very simply, directly we can write down. T1 value will be your D by 5 first, fine. In this second half, for this second half of the distance, we can write down, beta, this D distance will be, D distance, the second half distance will be, this half of the journey, how much is? Time taken is T by 2 and speed is 10. So this distance traveled for half time, the distance traveled will be speed into time, that is your 10 into T by 2 plus in the next half, the distance traveled will be, for the next half, the distance traveled will be again speed into time, right? So from here, what do we get it? We get over here D is equals to 2D is equals to 10t plus 15, that is 25t. Okay, this is what we got it. Now, so t value, this is t is actually what one? The second one, which is your t2 value. So I'll substitute over here. So this t2 value, t2 by 2, t2 by 2, we can write it. So t2 value comes out 25, or t2 value is 2d by 25, right? 2d by 25. Now let us substitute this. So 2d by t1 value is d by 5 plus t2 value is 2d by 25. 5 times we get over here, 25 goes in the numerator, 2d by 25 divided by 5d plus 2d, 7d, dd cancel out, 25 2 is 50, 50 by 7. 50 by 7 is average speed coming. So what can we write it? Speed average is 50 by 7. So 50 by 7, that implies x value is 50. X value is 50. So our answer is 50. Okay? Chalo, let's move on to the next question. Yeah. So our next question is, a vehicle travels 4 km with a speed of 3 km per hour. 4 km with a speed of 3 km per hour, and next 4 km and another 4 km with a speed of 5 km per hour, then its average speed is, okay. Many a times in variable form, earlier we already solved this question. So beta, speed average, total distance is 4 plus 4, 8 by total time. Time over here will be written as, for the first 4 km, time will be 4 by 3 plus time over here will be 4 by 5, right? If we solve it, we will get it 8 into 15 by 4 times 5 plus 3, that is 8. Okay, how much? 8, 8 cancels out, we will get it 15 by 4, that is your 15 by 4. So this will come out 3.75 km per hour. Fine. Let's look at next question. So next question says, a body is moving with constant speed in a circle of radius 10 meter. Okay. Circle of radius 10 meter. A body is moving with constant speed. The body completes one revolution in 4 seconds. One revolution in 4 seconds, that means time period is given to you 4 seconds. And it is going with constant speed, fine. At the end of third second, the displacement of the body from its starting position is. Okay, so what we can say is, at the end of third second, let's say that particle starts from here. Particle starts from here. Total in 4 seconds, it will complete one round. So beta, that means we can, from this we can understand total is 4 seconds. That means in 1 second it will complete 90 degree, angular displacement will be 90 degree, and in at the end of third second it will be angular displacement will be 270 degree. That means basically it will cover this distance. I hope this point is clear. Total 4 second is the time period. So in 4 second it will complete one round complete. So in 1 second it will be, we have 4 quarters over here. So it will be 90 degree in 1 second. So in 3 second it will cover, the angular displacement will be your 270. 270 degree means the position will be over here. They are asking us the displacement. Displacement is what? This is our displacement. This is your initial position, let's say A, this is your final position B. Displacement. So beta, radius is 10, this 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 angle is 90 degree. So our displacement will be your what? Root over 10 square plus 10 square, that we get it as 10 root 2. Okay, 10 root 2 is the answer for this. Let's look at next question. Okay, so our next question is, an object moves with speed v1, v2 and v3 along a line segment AB, BC and CD respectively as shown in figure. Okay, so AB, BC and CD. A, B, BC and CD. It is given to you AB is equals to BC and AD is equals to 3 times of AB. So let's say AB is X, BC will also be X, and this total distance AD is equals to 3 times of AB. That means if this total is 3x, this is x plus x 2x, this must also be equals to x, right? So total distance is now 3x, fine. Then the average speed of the object will be, fine. Same question, we have already done 2-3 questions like this. So similar question is there, average speed question. In AB speed is v1, in BC part speed is v2, in CD part speed is v3, right? Speed average, what do we write beta? Speed average is total distance by total time. Total distance is 3x, total time for the first half, that is for AB part, time will be your distance by speed. In this it will be x by v1. This for BC part, time will be x by v2. For this CD part, your x by v3. If we simplify this, 3x divided by x can be taken common, and you will finally get over here v1, v2, v3. This will be v2, v3 plus v1, v3 plus v1, v3 plus v1, v2. Okay, x6 cancels out. Our answer is 3 times v1, v2, v3 by this term we have v1, v2 plus v2, v3 plus v1, v3. Okay, option number, if you check it, this is option number 3. Okay, beta, option number 3 is our answer. Fine, let's look at next question. Okay, so our next question is, for a train engine moving with a speed of 20 meter per second. Let's draw our figure. So a train engine which is moving with the speed of 20 meter per second. Fine. The driver must apply brakes at a distance of 500 meter before the station. Let's say this is your station, which is 500 meter. So the driver must apply brake, okay, at a distance of 500 meter before the station for the train to come to rest at the station. That means if he applies brake at a distance of 500 meter, exactly at the station, the train will stop. That means after traveling 500, the speed will become 0. Okay, but he says if the brakes were applied at half of this distance, will be at 250. That means not exactly over here, but when train was at a distance of 250 meter from the station, the brakes were applied. Speed is still over here when 20. So when it is going with 20, fine. So they are asking you that the train engine will cross the station with a speed of root x meter per second. The value of x is, fine. So speed root x meter per second. So the engine moves with a speed of, when this thing happen in situation 2, with what speed the engine will move through the station, fine. So in the first situation, so this question is basically motion with constant acceleration, which are based on your equation of motion. So in the situation 1, we can use our third equation of motion. So let's write down v square equals to u square plus 2as v square. Finally at station it becomes 0. Initially its speed is 20, so that is 20 square is 400 plus 2 into a into s. How much it is? 500. Fine, let us solve it. So a value comes out minus 400 by 2 into 500, that is your 1000. Minus 4 by 10 meter per second square is the acceleration or negative acceleration or retardation of the train. That means the train is going with a retardation of minus 4 by 10 meter per second square. It is constant. It is constant. So if the brakes are applied at a distance of 250, half of this, so what will be the speed? So again, we will use same our equation, v square equals to u square plus 2as. Okay, we have to find out this. V square is equals to u square, 20 square is 400 plus 2 into retardation value, we got it as minus 4 by 10 into now distance is half of that, that is 250. How much we get it? 400. This will 25 to 50, 54. This is minus 200. So v square value comes out 200. So v value is root 200. V value is root 200. If we compare, that means x value is equals to 200. And if we compare with the x that is given to us, x value is 200. Fine. Let's look at next question. Yeah. So next question is, but up till now the questions that we have done, all these are kinematics, motion in 1D question, right? The one that we have done till now. Now we'll be discussing kinematics, motion in 2D questions, motion in 2D question, mostly projectile question and that part, right? So let us see, the question is the maximum the maximum vertical height to which a man can throw a ball is 136 meter. So maximum height that he can throw is 136 meter. The maximum horizontal distance up to which he can throw the same ball is, so range max, if same person, that means with same speed, if he is trying to throw, what is the range max? Now beta, h max value will be when theta is 90 degree, that means when thrown vertically up, when it is thrown vertically up like this. So in that case, h value is what? U square by 2g. Okay, I hope you know this result. H is equals to u square by 2g. Next, range maximum. Range maximum is maximum range for a projectile comes when theta value is 45 degrees. And how much is range? If I write down range, range is u square sine 2 theta by g. And maximum range occurs when theta is 45. So this one will become sine 2 into 45, that is sine 90. So range maximum becomes u square by 1 u square into 1 by g. So maximum range is u square by g. So from here, first height is given to us 136. So 136 is equals to u square by 2g. This is our first. Second one, so I can write down r max is equals to u square by g value. U square by g value will be 136 into 2, that is 272 meter. 272 meter is the maximum range. Fine. Let's look at next question. Okay. Two objects are projected with same velocity u, however at different angles alpha and beta with horizontal, okay, if alpha plus beta is 90 degrees. So the situation is two objects, speed u, angle alpha, speed u, angle beta. It is given to you alpha plus beta is 90 degree. That means they are complementary angle, alpha and beta are complementary. The ratio of horizontal range of first object to the second object will be, ratio of range they are asking. If I say R1, this is R2. So they are asking R1 by R2. Now, if you know the result, which during our discussion we have done many times, whenever two particles are thrown with same speed but at angles which are complementary to each other, the range is same, right? So answer, if you know this, we can directly write answer will be 1 by 1. 1:1 will be our answer, right? Range will come same only. If the speed is same and the angle of projection is complementary, then range will be same. If you want, I'll show you also. So range value, what do we write? Range 1 will be u square sine 2 alpha by g. U square sine 2 alpha by g. Range 2 will be u square sine of 2 beta. 2 beta over here can be written as 2 beta by g. So I can write u square sine of 2 times beta. Beta value is 90 minus alpha by g. What do we get, beta? So R2 value is u square sine of 180 minus 2 alpha by g. So R2 is u square sine 180 minus theta is sine theta. So sine 180 minus 2 alpha is sine 2 alpha by g. This is your R2, this is your R1. R1 and R2 value are same. That means ratio will be 1:1. Fine. Let's look at next question. Yeah. So our next question is, a stone is projected at angle 30 degree to the horizontal. Okay, projectile question it is. Some speed u at an angle of 30 degree to horizontal. the ratio of kinetic energy of the stone at the point of projection to its kinetic energy at the highest point of flight will be. Ratio of kinetic energy. So projectile, this will be the path. Over here, let's say kinetic energy initial, this is your kinetic energy at the highest. Let's call this as kinetic energy at A, this is kinetic energy at B. They are asking us ratio kinetic energy A by kinetic energy B. It will be half m VA square by half m VB square. Okay? This is at the point of projection, this is at the highest point. Half m cancels out. So we get VA square by VB square. VA square, what is the velocity at the point of projection? If we have assumed it to be u, so we can write it as u square. VB square, that means at the highest point. What is the velocity at the highest point? But in projectile, we know that at the highest point, you have only x component of velocity. Y component, Vy value becomes 0. Vy becomes 0, so we have only Vx, and Vx is also what? In x direction in projectile, your velocity does not change. So Vx value is u cos 30. Okay? So at highest point, our velocity is only in the x direction, and x direction velocity always remains constant, which is your u cos 30. So our Vb value is finally u cos 30. So u cos 30 square. U cos 30 square, so u square cos square 30, u square cancels out. 1 by cos square 30 degree, cos 30 degree will come out to be your root 3 by 2, and if we do the square, it will come out 3 by 4, which becomes your 4 by 3. So our ratio is 4:3. Answer is 4 by 3. Option number 4. Option number 4, last option, is the correct answer. Fine. Let us look at next question. Yeah. So our next question says a particle of mass 100 gram, is projected at t equals to 0 with a speed of 20 meter per second at an angle of 45 degree to the horizontal as given in the figure. Okay. The magnitude of angular momentum of the particle, the magnitude of angular momentum L of the particle about the starting point at t equals to 2 second, is found to be root k. Then find the value of k, Now beta, this is a good question. In this, concepts of 2 chapters will be used. Concept of your projectile motion, concept of your from angular momentum concept will be used over here, right? Now also there are 2 approaches to solve this question. I'll discuss both of them one by one. First of all, let us see. As we know that at any time t, the variation of angular momentum can be written as tau is equals to basically given as dl by dt. The rate of change of angular momentum is torque. Okay, torque is equals to dl by dt. So from this, what can we write it? dl is equals to tau dt. So at any time t, if I have to write down integral dl, if we have to find out angular momentum, let's do this, tau into dt. Fine. Now beta, basically integral tau dt, integration of tau dt. Tau is your torque. Which force is applying torque over here? On this particle, if we see, only one force is acting, which is your mg. On this particle, only one force is acting throughout its journey, only mg will be acting. If we write down the torque of mg, about this point, what can we write down at any time t? If we write down torque, we know is r vector cross f vector. This I can also write as r perpendicular f. Torque can also be written as r perpendicular f. What is our r perpendicular from the point of projection? So this is my mg. Mg is acting. This is the line of force of mg, and r perpendicular. If we drop this, this is my r perpendicular. Okay. R perpendicular is what beta? In this case, in the projectile case, if you notice, it is the horizontal distance traveled by the particle. According to the figure, I hope you understand this. I am writing torque r cross f, which I can write as r perpendicular f. F is constant, which is your mg only. What is changing is the distance is changing continuously, and that distance at any time t can be given as the distance traveled in x direction. How much is distance traveled in x direction? R perpendicular, which is your x. In projectile, what is the distance traveled in x direction? It can be written as Vx into t. Vx into t, velocity in x into t, because in x direction it is uniform motion, right? So now let us substitute this over here. So what do we get it? Integral dl is equals to integral tau. Tau value, what can I write it now? Tau value will be, this is r perpendicular, so Vxt into force, that is your mg. So let us substitute this torque value, which we get as mg Vxt into dt. I hope till here all the steps are clear. Now in this case, if you notice in this side, mg is constant, vx is constant throughout the journey, and now vx is constant, so all that we can take out of the integration, so it will be mg vx integral t dt. Okay, integral dl. So at t equals to 0, L will be 0. At t equals to 2 second, we want to find out angular momentum, which is L. So integration of this, we will get it as L mg vx into integral t dt, it will be your t square by 2, 0 to 2. What are we getting over here? So L value is mg vx into, if you put the value 2 square is 4, 4 by 2 is 2. Okay, so mass is given to you as 100 grams, so 100 by 1000 into g is 10 into vx. Vx value, what is Vx value, beta? Vx value, initial velocity is 20, it is given thrown at an angle of 45 degree. So Vx is always constant, which we can write as u cos 45, u cos theta, which is your 20 into cos 45, that is your 20 by root 2. Right? This is our Vx value, 20 by root 2 into 2. How much are we getting? Cancels out. L value is 20 into 2 by root 2, that gives us 20 root 2. That gives us 20 root 2. So angular momentum comes out to be 20 by root 2 at t equals to 2 second. L value is 20 by root 2. If we further, according to the value that is given to us, L is equals to root k. So if we write it, this becomes your 400. If it goes into the root, it becomes 400. 400 into 2, that is root 800. This is our answer. So k value, if we compare it with the root k that is given to us, so k value will be your 800. K value is 800. Okay, this is our answer. Fine. I hope everyone understood. It was a good question. Okay. Sure. Fine. Let's look at the next approach that we can use to solve this question. There are two approaches we can use to solve this question. Let's look at one more approach. So our next approach is, what we can do is angular momentum. Angular momentum L is given as r vector cross p vector. Okay, angular momentum is r vector cross p vector. That means what we can do is, we first find out the position vector of particle at t equals to 2 second. We find out the momentum of the particle at t equals to 2 second, and then do the cross product. That way also your answer will come. How do we write it? R vector. R vector for this particle will be, let's write it xi cap plus yj cap. Xi cap, the displacement in x direction will be your vx into t I cap plus, because it is in x direction, it is uniform motion only, into y direction displacement. It can be written as uy t minus half gt square j cap. I hope it's okay with you. Over here, distance equals to speed into time, that is your in horizontal uniform motion. The position, the displacement in y direction, s equals to ut plus half at square, but specifically in y direction. So in y direction, uyt minus half gt square. This is your r vector, we got it. Next, if we write down p vector, p vector will be your mass into velocity. Velocity vxi cap plus vyj cap. Okay, m into vx. Vx value is what? Vx value, it is same only, it will remain same constant, that is your u cos 45. Vx, it's always remain ux only. Okay, okay, ux I cap plus vy value at time t. What can we write vy value? Vy will be v equals to u plus at, but in y direction it will be your uy minus gt j cap. This is what we got it. Okay, this is our momentum. This is our momentum expression. This is our position vector expression. Vx value will be how much, beta? 20 cos 45, that is 20 by root 2. T value is 2. Uy value is 20 sin 45 and a half gt square, t is 2 over here. In this case, again ux value is initial velocity in x direction, uy minus gt. Substitute the values. Once you get r expression, then you get p expression, and then do the cross product of it. Again your answer will come out to be your 800 only. I am leaving the calculation part to you. Same means just put the values and then do the cross product. I hope you know how to do the cross product. K cap term will be coming over here. In that only one k cap term will come. So this is it. This is our next approach that we can use for solving this question. Fine. So let's move on. Let's look at the next question now. Okay. Next question is, The initial speed of a projectile fired from ground is u. Okay. At the highest point during its motion, the speed of projectile is root 3 by 2 u. Fine. The time of flight of the projectile is. No information is given about angle of projection. So let's say over here u, it is projected at an angle of theta. They have given us u, not information about theta. Fine. At the highest point, its speed becomes root 3 by 2 u. Now beta, we know one thing, that at highest point, velocity in y direction becomes 0. You have only velocity in x direction, and which is at highest point velocity is only in x direction, and which is nothing but u cos theta, because horizontal direction velocity is constant throughout the journey. So we can write down, so at highest point it is given to you root 3 by 2 u. So root 3 by 2 u is equals to u cos theta. So u cos theta, u cancel out, we get cos theta value is equals to root 3 by 2. That implies theta value is 30 degree. That implies theta value is 30 degree. They are asking us time of flight. What is the time of flight? Time of flight in projectile is 2u sine theta by g. Theta we calculated 30 degrees, sine 30 is 1 by 2. So 2u into 1 by 2 by g, 2 to cancel out, t value comes out u by g. Okay? U by g are time of flight. Answer it will be second option. Second option is the answer. Fine. The next question is, the speed of swimmer is 4 km per hour in still water. That means velocity of swimmer with respect to river is 4 km per hour. Okay. And it is given if the swimmer makes its strokes normal to the flow of river of width 1 km. Width is 1 km, and this swimmer is going straight at an angle of 90 degree with the flow. Okay, this is, he is going straight. Okay, if he reaches at a point 750 meter down the stream on the opposite bank, the speed of the river is, fine, the river flow speed they are asking us. Let's say river flow speed is VR. Okay, when he is putting over here velocity, he is trying to move at an angle of 90 degree. Due to the flow, it will be, actually the resultant will be coming over here at some angle, and this is the drift. He goes 750 meter down the stream. This is what it is given to us. Now beta, what will happen is he will cross the river due to this velocity, whereas he will travel down the stream due to the horizontal velocity, which is nothing but your velocity of river, and this is your velocity of swimmer with respect to river. Fine, let us do x direction and y direction. Basically this is, let's assume this is y direction motion, this is x direction motion. So in y direction I can write down, in y direction, which is for crossing the river, what can I write it? The distance, that is your 1 km, is equals to your speed is VSR. VSR is given to us 4 into time. So time taken is 1 by 4 km per hour. Okay, fine. Now in x direction, same time will be taken to cover 750 meter. So what can I write it? Distance is equals to speed into time. In x direction, the distance traveled is 750 meter. 750 meters, so 750 by 1000 is equals to speed with what speed? Which speed is taking it into the x direction? That is the river speed is taking it in x direction. So VR into time. Time is your 1 by 4, which we calculated in last step. So this is your 3 by 4, and 4 and 4 cancel. So velocity of river comes out 3 km per hour. Okay, let's look at next question. Okay, beta. So our next question is, two bodies are projected from ground with same speed of 40 meter per second at two different angles with respect to horizontal. Fine. So 40 meter per second and 40 meter per second, but angles are different. Okay, the bodies were found to have same range. If one of the body was projected at an angle of 60 degree. Range are same, R1 and R2 is same, range is same. This is something that 2 or 3 times in the discussion it has come. Whenever range is same, that means angle of projection is complementary. So if this is 60, this must be 90 minus 60, that is 30 degree. From this, if range is same, we got this idea that angle of projection for second one will be 30 degree. Fine. Okay. So they are asking us with the horizontal, the sum of the maximum heights attained by the two projectile is. They are asking us sum of maximum height. That means H1 plus H2 value. H1 plus H2 value they are asking. Let us solve it. H1, for this one, what can I write it? It will come out to be u square by sine, u square sine square theta. H value is what? u square sine square theta by 2g, u square sine square theta by 2g. So for first one we can write u square sine square 60 by 2g plus u square sine square 30 by 2g. Let's solve it. U square by 2g can be taken common. Sine square 60, sine square 60 will be your root 3 by 2 whole square, that is your 3 by 4, plus it will be sine square 30, 1 by 2 whole square, that is your 1 by 4. Fine, we get it. 3 by 4 plus 1 by 4, that comes out to be a 4 by 4, that is 1. Okay, this is 1. Over here u square by 2g finally, so u is 40, 40 square 1600 by 20 cancels out. Our answer is 80. So the summation of the height value is 80. Now this is our answer. Fine, let's look at next question. Okay, our next question is, a child stands on the edge of a cliff at 10 meter above the ground and throws a stone horizontally with a speed of 5 meter per second. Fine. So let's say like this, a child stands on top of a cliff which is 10 meter high, okay, and he throws stone horizontally with a speed of 5 meter per second. Okay, neglecting the air resistance, the speed with which the stone hits the ground will be dash meter per second. Fine, beta. So if you notice carefully, this is a question of oblique projectile or projectile from a height. Projectile from a height, basically it will be coming like this. This will be the path that the particle will be following. This will be the path that particle will be following. When it strikes, it will have two components. What are the two components I'm drawing over here? It will have horizontal component and it will have vertical component. Horizontal component of velocity Vx, vertical component Vy. Now, in horizontal direction, there is no acceleration. That means there will be no change in velocity. So horizontal velocity Vx remains to be 5 only. No problem with this. But in vertical direction, there is acceleration and there is your motion under gravity. So Vy, if we have to find out Vy value, what will be Vy value? Using third equation of motion, V square is equals to U square. Initially in y direction, Uy is 0. So 0 plus 2 into 10, that is G, into S. How much it is? 10 meter. So we get it. Vy square is equals to 200. Fine. This is Vx. This is your Vy. Vy value is how much? Root 200. Fine, beta. They are asking us net velocity. Net velocity, what can I write it? Net velocity will be root over Vx square plus Vy square. V is equals to Vx. How much is our Vx? 5. 5 square is 25 and Vy square is 200. So 5 square 25 plus Vy square is 200. We get root over 225. So the velocity of the particle when it hits the ground will be root 225, that is 15 meter per second. Okay. So we calculated in x separately, in y separately, and then found out the net velocity. Fine. So option will be, what is our option? Option number 2, 15. Okay. Okay then, so with this we have completed our January 2023 questions, motion in 1D, motion in 2D, all kinematics question. In the next video we will be discussing your April 2023 PYQ questions. Okay then, thank you very much. If you like the video, please hit that like button and subscribe the channel. Thank you very much. Bye bye.